Things, Miss Lynn here at Wait a While Play School. Some of you have been following along, and we're really excited that we've had some chicks hatch, and so today's the last day that they will be in the incubator and we need to take them out, and the next thing we do is we put them in a brooder. So I'm going to show you how we set up a brooder for the chicks. So today some of the supplies we have, this big black bin is a 50-gallon livestock tank, and then we have some wood shavings. We have a heat lamp. This is just some wood that it's attached to be able to hold it. We have chairs and books to change the level of the heat lamp. This is a chicken waterer, so it goes like this. We also have an extra heat lamp just in case. I always keep an extra one around in case something goes wrong with this one. We can quick have another one because we don't want those chicks to get cold at all. And then to tell what the temperature is, we have this little gauge that will tell us the temperature that we'll put in there with them. This is for their food. This big bag here is their chick food. It's just called Chick Starter. And then this is another kind of food dish that sometimes we use. Then we also have 2-gallon jugs here with water. And for the first little bit, the chicks are going to need some vitamins in their water. This one is an electrolyte and this one is a probiotic. So you don't always need to use these when you've hatched your own chicks. A lot of times these are used when your chicks have been shipped to you, but it doesn't hurt to just give them some extra vitamins. So even though we hatched our own chicks, we're going to use these too. So with these, you mix 1 packet with 1 gallon of water. So I have these filled up, and so I'm just going to break it open and pour it in. This one that has the orange label is the probiotic. And then we're going to do the electrolyte. Okay, so I'll rip that one open, and that's going to go in the other jug. Okay, so, and this one should be orange. The electrolyte is orange. It's kind of like little chick Gatorade. Okay, so the little chicks get their own Gatorade. There we go. I'm going to put on the lids. And I'll give them a little shake. They should be good to go. Shake this one a little bit. Okay, so then we're going to get their water. And what I like to do is I pour in half of the electrolyte, the Chick Gatorade, and half of the probiotic. So we're going to start with this one. And I think that looks about half the jug. So I'm going to pour that in. Looks good for that one. And then we'll pour in this one. Okay. And then something that we have always done with our chicks that, again, you don't have to do, but we do it just to be on the safe side, is we have marbles. Fritz, can you hand me the marbles, please?
Yes.
So what you're going to do with this waterer is I take the bottom and I screw it on. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then we turn it upside down. And because the chicks are so little, we don't want someone to fall asleep. You guys saw that usually they're falling asleep right now. We don't want them to fall asleep next to their water bin and drown. So we put the marbles in there that kind of, they want to peck at the marbles, and that helps them find the water. And it also makes sure that if they fall in there, there's not too much water and they're not going to drown in the water. So we added some marbles in there as well. So our water is ready. We're going to set that aside here for a second. And now we will get our food dish ready. So I'm going to take this one that has the open top. I just set it inside and get as much food in here as I can. And as they get bigger, I can add a glass jar or a plastic jar on top of here with food, and then it will self-feed, which means it kind of keeps filling itself up. Okay, so we got the food there for them. And we'll start this on the ground, but as they get bigger, I'll put a little dish or something else under it to raise it higher and higher, and that way they won't be kicking dirty wood chips and things into their food dish. Okay, we'll set that aside for a second. So the next thing we need to do is we are going to put just a thin layer of wood chips into the brooder or into the livestock tank. So Fritz is going to help us with that. Okay, so Fritz, you can start dumping those in here. You dump them in and I'll spread them out, okay? So we're going to take a couple handfuls of wood chips. One of the reasons that we chose to set up the brooder in the school bathroom is that this has nice laminate floor, and that way if we want to let the chicks out to play or we make a mess with food or water or anything like that, this floor is nice and easy to clean up. Alright, so we're going to keep adding some more wood chips. Keep going, Fritz. Keep going, Fritz. So you want enough to cover the plastic bottom because we don't want the bottom to get filled with water or poop or anything like that, because then it would get slippery and the chicks could hurt their legs. But we don't want it so thick that you're kind of wasting the wood chips and you're going to have to throw more away. So you want kind of just the right amount that it's covered. Keep coming, buddy. Covered, but not that you're using so much that you're going to have a bunch of waste either. Okay. How about 2 more handfuls and that should be enough. Okay. That's good. And 1 more. All right. Excellent. Great job, Fritz. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to put our light up. And we'll have to kind of experiment with this on how high or low we want the light. We're going to start with it low, and then as the chicks get older, we'll be able to raise the light higher and higher. So when we put them in today, right now they're in the incubator and it's 99.5 degrees. Okay, so they want it nice and warm and toasty. And when we put them in here today, we want it to be 95 degrees. So we're going to use this temperature gauge, and right now in this room it is 70 degrees. Okay. But we want it to be 90 degrees before we put the chicks in. So we're going to let this brooder run for a couple hours with the heat lamp on. And then we'll check it, and once it's 90, then we'll be able to put the chicks in. So right now, if I put my temperature gauge here, and I will have the light on here in a few minutes. If it's not going to be 90 by the time I've let it sit for a couple hours, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the light. So the lower I get the light, the warmer it's going to be. And so they need it 95 degrees today, and then every week we get to make it 5 degrees colder. So it's going to be 95 degrees this week, and then next week it's going to be 90 degrees, and then the third week it's going to be 85. And the chicks right now are full of fuzz and they're fluffy, and what they're going to do is they're going to start creating feathers, and they can't go outside until they have all their fuzz has turned into feathers. And they say that takes about 8 weeks. So because we're in spring right now, the weather is getting warmer, and sometimes usually around the time I have chicks at 6 weeks, if they have a lot of their feathers and it's 65 or 70 degrees outside, then I can take the chicks out just for short amounts of time outside so that they can kind of start getting used to being outside. But they live in this brooder pretty much for the next 8 weeks, and then we'll move them outside to the chicken coop. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place the water in here. And I'm going to raise the water up a little bit, and I'm going to have the water not right next to the heat lamp because we don't want it to get too hot. And then we're also going to, same with the food, and sometimes I spread those 2 things apart because they like to try to naturally kick up their things to look for food, and we don't want them to kick the food into the water. All right, Fritz, I am ready for you to plug in the light. Okay, just keep it on here for now. All right, so we're gonna plug in that light and we'll see. So right now it says 70, and I would guess that, no, please just plug it in the top part.
Okay.
Yes. All right, so now we have our heat lamp on, and this is our brooder all set up and ready to go. So thanks for joining us on our brooder setup. I will make another video soon in a couple hours when we move the baby chicks out of their incubator and into the brooder. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you soon. Bye.